We're diving once again into 10 underrated Canadian rock bands that every rock fan needs to rediscover. It will be a ride through blues rock, prog hard rock, and metal. These are the bands that shaped Canada's sound, but somehow slipped under the radar south of the border. Helix were Canada's answer to AC/DC. They were loud, fast, and fun, but never taken as seriously as they deserved. Frontman Brian Vollmer had that raspy party anthem voice that could cut through any crowd noise, and the band's live energy was pure chaos in the best way. Songs like Rock You and Heavy Metal Love should have made them global stars, but bad timing and label politics kept them mostly north of the border. What I love about Helix is their persistence. They survived lineup changes, trends, and industry crashes, yet never lost their drive. They were always the kind of band that gave 100% on stage, whether for 1,000 fans or 10. Albums like No Rest for the Wicked and Walk in the Razor's Edge prove that they weren't just another bar band. They were the heart of Canadian hard rock, pure grit and volume wrapped in denim and sweat. Moving on to Prism. They were the sound of late 70s ambition, part arena rock, part progressive dream. They mixed slick production with deep musicianship, creating songs that sounded bigger than life itself. Spaceship Superstar wasn't just a hit, it was a mission statement, combining cosmic lyrics with punchy hooks that felt futuristic and human at the same time. I've always loved how Prism made rock feel cinematic, like each song had its own world. Guitarist Lindsay Mitchell and vocalist Ron Tabak were the band's twin engines. Mitchell's tasteful solos meeting Tabak's passionate voice. Their albums, See Forever Eyes and Armageddon, showed that they could balance melody and experimentation better than most American peers. Tragically, Tabak's death in 1984 ended their rise just as MTV was opening new doors. Still, Prism's influence quietly echoes in Canadian rock today. They weren't chasing fame. They were reaching for the stars and almost touched them. Now the next band was raw, loud, and unstoppable. Headpins were proof that Canada could produce a hard rock band every bit as fierce as the Americans. Darby Mills wasn't just a frontwoman. She was a powerhouse. Her voice could melt glass, and she gave the band a fearless identity. When I first heard Don't It Make You Feel, it hit like a punch. It was fast, confident, and dripping with attitude. Formed by Brian McLeod and Ab Bryant from Chilliwack, the Headpins blended bluesy grit with arena-seized riffs and hooks sharp enough to cut steel. They toured hard, built a loyal fan base, and earned every ounce of their success. Yet outside Canada, they never quite broke through, which feels criminal given their talent. Still, albums like Turn It Loud remain staples for any serious rock collector. The Headpins had everything. Songs, style, and swagger. They played every note like it mattered. Red Rider proved that rock could be intelligent without losing its power. They mixed massive guitars with thoughtful lyrics, creating music that hit both the heart and the head. Lunatic Fringe is the perfect example. It is moody, political, and timeless. Tom Cochrane wasn't just a singer. He was a storyteller who made you think while you rocked out. Their albums as far as Siam and Neruda felt cinematic, capturing that sense of open highways and restless spirits. Kenny Greer's slide guitar added atmosphere that no one else had. It gave their sound emotional depth. I always thought Red Rider were Canada's best-kept secret, too thoughtful for the mainstream, but too powerful to ignore. Even when Cochran went solo, you could still hear Red Rider's soul in his music. They didn't need gimmicks or image. They just had substance, sincerity, and songs that still resonate decades later. Another underrated band, in my opinion, is Coney Hatch. They were one of those bands that should have been huge. They had everything, from killer riffs, tight harmonies, to endless energy. Andy Curran's gritty vocals paired perfectly with Carl Dixon's guitar firepower, giving them a unique balance between melody and muscle.
Like she's next of kin. You know this is wild.
When I first heard Devil's Deck and Monkey Bars, it felt like discovering Canada's own mix of Def Leppard and AC/DC. Their debut album was pure rock perfection, catchy choruses, sharp production, and zero filler. They toured with legends like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, holding their own every night, yet somehow never broke into the mainstream spotlight. What I admire most is that they never faked it. Coney Hatch always sounded like a band playing for the love of it. Records like Outta Hand still stand tall today, a reminder that great rock doesn't need fame to prove its worth. They absolutely delivered. April Wine holds a special place in Canadian rock history as the first band to play a concert entirely broadcast on pay-per-view television. Since 1969, they quietly built a massive legacy while never really getting all the recognition they deserved. Fronted by the talented Miles Goodwin, they developed a distinctive sound that blended hard rock power, heartfelt ballads, and just enough experimentation to keep things exciting. Through the 70s and 80s, they consistently delivered hits like Just Between You and Me and Roller, earning a loyal fan base across Canada and beyond. Their 1981 album, The Nature of the Beast, marked their international breakthrough, showing they could stand toe-to-toe with the biggest acts of the era. With over 20 albums under their belt, April Wine has become a true symbol of persistence, craftsmanship, and classic Canadian rock excellence that still resonates today. Now let's talk about another great Canadian guitarist, Frank Marino. His band, Mahogany Rush, formed in Montreal in 1969, mixing psychedelia, blues, and hard rock into a sound that stood out right away. Marino, often compared to Jimi Hendrix, built an unmistakable style with fiery solos and electrifying performances. Albums like Mahogany Rush 4 and Live capture both their technical skill and raw emotion. Tracks like Dragonfly and The Answer are beloved among 70s rock fans, proof of their staying power. While they never hit massive mainstream fame, the band has always kept a loyal following. Frank Marino himself remains a true hidden gem in rock history, a guitarist whose talent deserves far more recognition than he's ever gotten. Webster is one of those bands that feels like a well-kept Canadian secret. Formed in Sarnia, Ontario in 1972, they blended progressive rock complexity with quirky, offbeat humor, making them unlike anything else on the scene. Frontman Kim Mitchell's fiery guitar work and Pi Dubois' clever, often bizarre lyrics gave their music a unique personality. Smart, playful, and packed with riffs. They toured heavily, even opening for Rush, and became cult heroes in Canada. But international fame never followed.
This tightrope just begins to feel like home. When the wind comes.
Albums like Mutiny Up My Sleeve and A Million Vacations show just how adventurous and polished they were. Listening today, Max Webster feels fresh and underrated. The kind of band that rewards fans who dig a little deeper into Canada's rock history.
And all I know is that tonight I might let go of the line.
Being quite stable, the next you're coming off the wall.
Saga has always been one of those bands I feel never got the recognition they deserved, especially outside Europe. They formed in Oakville, Ontario in 1977, and right away, they stood out in the prog rock world. What makes Saga so special to me is how they blended technical precision with super catchy melodies.
No one can stop you now. Tonight you're on the loose.
You don't always get that balance in prog. Michael Sadler's voice is unmistakable, smooth but powerful, and Ian Crichton's guitar work is nothing short of jaw-dropping. His solos are intricate yet always melodic, especially on tracks like On the Loose and Wind Him Up. Their 1981 album Worlds Apart is their masterpiece, and even after countless lineup changes, Saga is still out there touring and delivering. They're proof that prog rock doesn't have to be niche to be brilliant.
No one to tell me how. Tonight I'm on the loose. He's winding his second hand out.
The man gone, a girl, her comes hand down.
Streetheart is one of those Canadian rock bands that I think deserved way more recognition than they ever got. What do you think? Formed in Regina, Saskatchewan in 1977, they had this cool mix of gritty hard rock and polished pop hooks that just worked. Songs like What Kind of Love Is This and their killer cover of Under My Thumb were staples on Canadian radio, but outside Canada, hardly anyone knew them. They were platinum-selling rockers with insane talent, led by the powerhouse vocals of Kenny Shields, yet they never broke through internationally. That's what makes them so underrated. Great songwriting, slick musicianship, and a loyal fan base that never gave up on them. Listening back now, Streetheart feels like one of Canada's best-kept secrets. Hope you enjoyed this trip through Canada's most underrated rock bands. These artists shaped the country's sound from the shadows. Which one deserves a spot in part 3? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more hidden Canadian rock gems.
Like she's next of kin. You know this is wild. Yeah. Oh, does everybody know the answer?
This tightrope just begins to feel like home.